Welcome everyone to tonight's cybersecurity training on Intro to CTFs. Hopefully you guys are all excited. This should be a great one for all the beginners. This platform that we're using, if you haven't noticed, is ATM Live. ATM's been kind enough to build this out for us, so it's got a lot of much better features than Zoom. Hopefully you enjoy it all. Just real quick, I guess, you've got the public chat. You've also got private chat. And you also have a shared notes doc, so feel free to, if you guys want to take any notes or do anything there, you can do that as well. All right. So who am I? On Discord, I'm Necrosis. That's like how everybody calls me out in the cyber industry. I'm still a noob, and I think it's a great thing to always be a noob, or at least think of yourself as one, so you're always learning. But really, I'm Chris. I'm a senior at UCSD now. I work in cybersecurity full-time, and I'm going to school part-time. So hopefully you guys enjoy this talk. All right, so we'll start off with a nice little poll to get everyone started. So have you ever participated in a CTF before? All right. A few more people. We'll give them a couple minutes left. Yeah, sorry, the check-in code I missed. It's on the first slide. Yeah, thanks, Jessica. All right, so it looks like just about everyone has submitted their response, and it looks like 60 or 70% haven't participated in a CTF, but a strong 30% have. So why? Yes, you should do it, because after you watch this, you'll understand why. I think RJ was asking that. All right. So capture the flag. What we're talking about is more along those lines. It looks like this here on the left. It's not our other favorite outdoor adventure and extremely violent game. We prefer the more heads down in the computer screen type. Yeah, so what is the CTF? It's basically a type of cyber security competition. It's a hacker contest, you might say, in some cases. They come in a lot of different styles. You've got team events. You also have individual events. They take place all around the world, every country. We just recently participated in one that was in India, or hosted in India with COVID. Nobody went there, I'm sure. And then, so, CTFs have been around. Like one of the oldest ones that I was able to find was in 1996. So tonight we're going to do a workshop, hands-on, but we're going to be participating in the CTF. So everyone will be able to hopefully answer yes to they have participated in a CTF. So if everyone can take a minute and head over to this, wow, I put 2 HTTPs in there, but it's basically playpicoctf.org. So let's see, let me just share that in the chat. So basically, you'll get a logon screen. You gotta click the little register button. It'll ask you for a bunch of super personal information. So go ahead and make sure you fill all of that out. And then once you are registered, go ahead and, I guess, give it a couple minutes to let everyone register. All right, so hopefully everyone is ready. It looks like we got most people ready here. All right. So join a team. So another thing you can do in the Pico CTF and other events is you can join a team. So in this picture here, we've got 3 of the members of our CTF team that attended B-Sides security conference here in San Diego last year, right before everyone went home for COVID. Yeah, so Pico CTF limits it to 5 people per team. Other events have unlimited numbers for teams, which is kind of cool. And UCSD, we obviously have our own teams, which we'll get into a little bit later. So if you want, you can join a team in Pico CTF, or you can just play it by yourself. Oh, everybody's ready. Okay, I already did that poll. All right, so types of CTFs. There's 2 main categories. The first one here is Jeopardy. Most common challenges are provided by the organizers. So, people will, work hard to come up with different problems for people to solve. And they break them into a wide range of different categories. You can kind of see some examples like recon, web challenges, reversing, exploitation, forensics, networking. And then so basically what you do is they give you this environment and you go through it and solve different problems based on each of the different categories. And so an example flag would be something like this: UCSD, CTF, and then Triton's Rock in leak code. All right. So the second one, which I think is everyone's kind of in their imagination, it's more like the real capture the flag or physical capture the flag. It's we call it attack and defense. There's not a lot of them because I think it's just kind of hard to set up, hard to manage, and hard to control the gameplay. So in this type of competition, teams protect their servers while exploiting others. So you're given, a server that has a lot of vulnerabilities, and you have services, and depending on the rules, you hack each other's machines and are able to score points for extracting flags properly. And the most famous one for this is the DEF CON CTF Finals. The qualifiers is a Jeopardy. So this is CTFs, but there's also other cyber competitions that exist. For most of the freshmen and some of them probably the older classmen as well, you would have heard of Cyber Patriots in high school. So this competition at the college level is very similar to the National Collegiate Cyber Defense competition, and that is built on a more realistic business environment. So you have a variety of machines, workstations, servers, routers, firewalls. And so your job or your goal in this type of competition is to defend your environment from an outside attacker. So there's a red team that will be continuously attacking your environment, and then your second objective is to handle business cases. So, and they call them injects. So they'll provide you a fake email that says, "Hey, we need to set up a new blog server," and so you'll have to go and configure a web server that can host a blog. So those are really good learning experiences, but they have a lot kind of different goals than capture the flag events. Another one that we just kind of heard of recently is the kind of the opposite side. So in CCDC, you're the blue team kind of business environment, whereas in the CPTC, which is the pen testing competition, is the red team version. So you get to attack, but you also have to write reports and stuff like a real red team member would. All right, so let's see how many of you were paying attention in the last 5 minutes. So based on what you see in Pico CTF, which type of CTF do you think Pico is? All right, give it another 30 seconds. All right. So yeah, everyone is pretty much right. This Pico CTF is going to be the Jeopardy style because we're given challenges and we'll be solving them in order to get the flags. All right, so we were kind of thinking about it, like, why do we want to do this? Somebody selected that option. Why do we want to do a CTF? So first, it's one of the best ways to get started in security. You're able to learn through experience. You get exposed to a lot of different challenges that are from a lot of the time real world examples. Another fun one that I like to point out is you can find tools that also apply to courses at UCSD or in the future. One that we may use today, or I may just like show off briefly, is like a hex editor. But I use that in CSE 100 to help with one of the PAs, and it made it a lot simpler. So that's one of the benefits. You also get to practice some of the things you learn in class. So in this picture, it's the Google CTF logo from a couple years ago. And in this year's Google CTF, I was able to use a lot of the knowledge I learned in CSE 140, particularly the lab aspect of it, using Verilog. So then there's also some companies out there that use CTFs to recruit new employees. So getting the, if you're interested in cybersecurity, it's a good way to kind of get used to those, coding kind of questions that software development companies or jobs have. All right, so I've been talking a lot. I'm sure you're all bored. So let's go find some flags. All right, so in your Pico CTF, you should be able to find some general skills categories stuff. So I think this is probably like a good way to get started. So we're going to pause and take 5 to 10 minutes to see if you can solve these 3 challenges. So, and then once the time is up, I'll go back over maybe 1 or all 3 of them, depending on the time. So, all right, everybody go ahead. I'm going to pause the recording again. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for everyone. So this kind of category, this general skills category, is not very common actually. I mean, there's some that are called like miscellaneous and stuff that you might see something similar. But because Pico CTF is really kind of targeted to the newer players or people with less experience, they have these kind of cool things to help you get used to the environments. All right, so let's start with the last. This one is pretty basic, and nobody can probably see my screen. All right, there we go. That's a little better. So yeah, so this one, anyone have any ideas of what you do here? It should be kind of straightforward. They also have some pretty cool hints here. So I just would probably copy this and put it into like an ASCII table chart, like a converter. So something like this is like one that I like to use is just rapid tables. So what do we have? We had hex. So there's a P there. Is that right? So and just do Pico CTF. I think that was the right one. Hooray, we got the flag right. So hopefully everyone kind of understood that one. That one was pretty simple. So the one that everyone was kind of talking about having a hard time with was strings. Strings it. So this one we have to download a file, which I believe I already downloaded it. Okay, I'm just going to download it. So I'm downloading it to my local machine. Let's zoom in here. Okay, so we'll just see what's here. Okay, so there's strings, and so that's kind of like the hint. Is a very common thing in capture the flag events is they'll hide stuff inside the files. So if we want to look at it, we can just use the program strings if you haven't heard of it before. And then we get like a bunch of garbage, which I zoomed in, so it's weird. But so we can just, do that and then just find the Pico line using grep. So that way we don't have to look through. So strings is built into Linux, but some versions don't come with it pre-installed. So you have to install bin utils. I'll post that in chat real quick. I think it's bin utils. So like on Debian or Ubuntu or something, you do like app install bin utils. I think that's the right package. But yeah, otherwise you should be able to see it in most distributions of Linux. All right. So yeah, so then we'll just go ahead and copy this over. See if that was the right flag. And there you go. So now hopefully you got your second flag. All right. So, and then the third problem on the general seals was what's netcat? So netcat is another program that is very common in capture flag events because what you're doing is this allows you to connect to remote servers and on different ports and interact with them. So basic format for netcat. So I'll just use their shell for this one because I think they have that set up. So we're going to want this Jupyter Challenges URL and 4075. All right, so netcat and 4075.2. Just double check. All right, so yeah, so nobody can read my screen again, huh? Okay, that one doesn't work. So I'll do netcat 4075.2. All right, so yeah, so when you do that, you're calling out to the server on this port number that they gave us, and we're getting the response back, which is outputting to our terminal screen, and it has the flag. And again, we'll just go back and submit this. And boom, there we go. We're up to a bunch of ones. So git bash, I don't know if I would really rely on it. I think you can do some things. I don't think I've ever really tried git bash as like you can't install all the applications, or you might be able to. I'm not really sure. I don't know if anyone else has more experience with git bash. But if you are Jonah using git bash because you're on like a Windows machine, I highly recommend looking at the Windows subsystem for Linux, because that runs pretty much like a virtual machine locally. So it's a lot nicer, and it gives you like yeah, you got a lot more you can do with it. Yeah, the strings on git bash it might be because it's not installed. Yeah, that's what I thought. Might be true. Yeah, here, just look up WSL. Something like that. Also, you can do virtual machines. We'll probably have a workshop on virtual machines at some point. So I guess does anyone have any quick questions on the so far? On at least on these first three problems, or are you all ready to move on? All right, silence is golden, so we'll go ahead and go back to our slides here. All right, so this next category, forensics, is kind of like a growing field in cybersecurity. So this one, don't know if we'll be able to solve all of them because they're like for Shark on a Wire, you're gonna have to download some other stuff. I mean, it shouldn't take too long, but so mainly we can just give you guys 10 minutes to try your best at these, and we'll go over them, at least the first couple. So, all right. And I don't know why I'm doing it. Okay. So the 3 problems that we were looking at for this one. So Glory of the Garden. So this is actually another one, right? So I already have downloaded this one. So we have this garden JPEG file. So if we pull it over here, this is what this picture looks like. So forensics, right? So when we're talking about forensics, this is a multitude of things. You know, it's the police department looking for criminals, and how do criminals hide information. You're looking at maybe somebody spilled water on their computer, and so you got to pull data off the hard drive. Those kind of things might fall into forensics. So in the case of bad guys, sometimes you're hiding secret messages. So if we look at, so it's everybody knows how to hopefully kind of be familiar with Linux. So one common way to look at information is we'll just do less garden, right? Yes, we want to see it. So this is a binary file, and there's a bunch of garbage. Whoops, wrong button. And there we go. So again, with the strings thing, you can kind of see that there's information printed in here. Reference, viewing, conditions, copyright information. You have metadata in image files. So, we're looking at this image. We can see that it is purely an image. So one of the things that we can do is, why don't we try something we've already learned today? So I'll do strings on garden. And so, hey, we get a bunch of strings again. Some of them are garbled junk. But hey, there's this kind of strange one at the bottom, which again is the flag this time. So this technique of hiding stuff in images is known as stenography. It's kind of like one that you'll see every once in a while. So it's a garden. So let's see if the flag was right. And there you go. So let's see. Tail. Yeah. So the other thing you could have done for this one is just use tail to look at the last few lines. You could have found the flag that way as well. So for this challenge, Ryan specifically, what they probably did is just open up the image file like in Vim. So you can just do Vim garden. And then I'm just going to jump down to what they've already edited here. And then we'll just change the to like something like was. Don't mess with it too much. So you can do that. And then the image should still work fine. Yeah, the image still works fine. I mean, there's a lot of other ways to hide stuff in images, which I don't know. Sean might mention it. I'm not sure. But there's a lot of tools out there that we can play with, and we'll definitely touch on it. Or if you participate in our CTF events, you'll definitely encounter some of them. All right. So the next one. So for corrupt, for some reason my computer's not agreeing with the changes. It might just be because my solution is from last year's event and I don't have the exact same file. But basically what we would do for, so let me actually go back and delete this. file real quick. So for corrupt, so we'll download it. Mystery. All right, so again, if we're looking at the file, so we can do head mystery. So we get a bunch of garbage, which is kind of interesting. Don't really even know what it is. And then like in Windows, you get like these weird white boxes because Windows doesn't even know what this file is. So I'll just show off a little bit of the program I had mentioned earlier, which is XXD. This one basically, I'm just going to pipe it into less. It's going to output the file. It's going to print it in your these are your like memory locations. And then this is the hexadecimal. And then this is the ASCII output of that characters. So, and we can kind of scroll through and go back up. So this one takes a little bit more knowledge of like images. Because if we look at the top, there's kind of like some weird stuff like this sRGB. So if I, let's see, oh, that's a JPEG, so their format's not exactly the same. And then let's see if I go to the bottom, there's also like this iEnd thing here. So you get kind of used to some of the file formats. So this one should be a PNG file. So if we jump back up to the top, so what we'll want to do is let me exit this. So in Vim, if we open up the mystery file, we get a bunch of binary garbage again. So what you can do, one option is to do this percent bang xxd, and that'll allow you to basically edit the hex code inside of the file. And then let's see. So I think this is pretty similar. So let me see if I can figure out all these things here. So basically, we need to go through and edit all of these files. And so I'm using a cheat sheet, which will. Okay, so command line stuff. So 15L will teach you a lot of this. I would say, especially starting out in UCSD, getting used to Linux is going to be one of the biggest things you can do. Because you're going to use it in just about every class. I know some people like to use Mac, which is very similar because they're both Unix-based operating systems. And I mean, once you get into the industry, you're going to use a lot of either Mac or Linux for software development projects. I mean, on Windows, you're going to still, like I'm on a Windows box right now and running the Linux. But so I think it's Gavin is your name. I mean, if you feel completely lost, that's totally fine. One of the great things about being part of like the organization is we'll help you learn whatever you need to learn. We have a really strong community. So yeah, don't feel like you're way behind or anything like that. I'm sure a lot of freshmen probably feel that way. So yeah. If I'm going too fast, just put up a message in chat and I'll try to see it. I'm just waiting. I see people typing, so I'm just going to give a second for some questions before I move on. Would it be helpful for me to like just go back to the beginning of this corrupt one and go step by step a little slower? Okay. Okay. All right. So the Linux command line. You can also follow along on the web shell. If it's easier, I can do it there. So then everyone's a little more comfortable maybe with it. Let me just see if they have XXD. Yeah, they do. Okay. All right. So the one thing I learned about. Yeah, that's a good point. Over the wire is a good way to learn some command line stuff. All right, so we're going to want to download the file from the web server. So we can use Wget. That's like a Linux built-in application. So we need the URL where the file is located at. So that's why we copy this link address. So then we can paste it in here. So at least on Chrome, I'm using Control-Shift-V to do the paste in here. So you get wget. So that's the web-get file. And then so here's the URL where the file is located. So when I run that, it downloads the file for me. And it looks like I might have already saved that once before. Yeah, so I have 2 of them. So what I just typed there is ls. So that's going to let you be able to see what's in your folder, what's in your directory. All right, so what we want to do, right? So we have this mystery file. We don't know what it is. Like it doesn't have a cool, JPEG ending or doc, .c, like .doc, right? Something like that. So we need to kind of do forensics. We need to investigate this file. So like one of the first things we want to do is, maybe just look at the head of it, right? So head is a command that lets you look at, I think by default it's the first 10 lines. So let's check out mystery. So this actually overflowed the image. But we get like a bunch of weird kind of garbage, right? So we're not, I have no idea what it is. So we see like this looks like it's got some Asian characters in here, Korean characters. So there's a lot going on. So we'll look at it in this hexadecimal format. So XXD, it's just going to print to our screen. So another way to look at like an entire file is to use cat. So cat mystery. So with head, I only looked at the first 10 lines. With cat, it'll dump all the lines to the screen, which it's a really big mess. So clears the screen. So another one you can use is less. So this one's going to give you more control over the file that gets printed. And it wants to know if it wants to see binary. So here we can use like arrow keys and stuff to like move up and down. So I'll quit out of that with Q. So then again, back to the XXD with the hexadecimal or like hexadump. There's a lot of other programs, but this one's a really good one to see everything. And then so because I don't want it to overflow the screen like cat does, I'm going to use this pipe function, which is shift and whatever that / key is. And then I'll use less this time. So this is basically dumping all of it to the screen, but less is allowing us to control it. So we can get like that nicer format. So now that we've kind of like done some basic investigation into what this file is, I'm going to go ahead and quit this. And then we're going to use a text editor. I prefer to use Vim. There's a lot of Linux text editors out there. This one is just my favorite, and I think everybody should use it. And if anyone knows anything about Linux, that'll start a fight, I'm sure. So Vim mystery. And then we get this binary junk again. But the nice thing about Vim is you can actually run some commands in Vim as well. All right, so we'll do a semicolon. So I'm not going to do like a whole in-depth thing on Vim, but it's definitely a good thing to learn. But if you're in this, actually this is a bad editor, so we can kind of see through down here, we see the lines and rows and columns. And then so I know I'm in like normal mode is what it's called. If I hit I, it's going to show insert. So now I'm in insert mode. I hit escape to exit. All right, so in normal mode, if you do a colon, type colon, percent, and then bang, this lets you run some Linux commands. So I'm going to do xxd, and basically that converts all that binary garbage in Vim to a hex format, like editor. So now I can edit this file. And then so because it's been a while, to just kind of like speed it up, I'm going to reference the solve doc. So when we do CTFs, we build a document called solve doc, and we basically post all the how to get this stuff done. So basically, we want to correct a lot of these errors. So I'm just going to kind of like, so mainly because I have the answers. Oops. So like this first one, we're going to change up here 8950. All right, and then we want 4E, 47. So this needs to be a 4. This one needs to be a 7. 0D, 0A. And then this one becomes 1A. And then this becomes 0A, followed by 600D, 49, 4, 4, R4, 49, 48, 4452. Okay, so that line looks correct. Then the next line is 0606A, 47. 47082 007C88B. All right. And then so the next ones I think are in this gamma and physics ones. So we should have what is this, 30? So let's go on line 50. So we have memory addresses 50 here. So I need FF A5 49 44 41 44 41 54 875. Okay, so we made our edits. So to convert back to the binary, we're going to do xxd-r. And then we have our wonderful binary garbage back. And then we'll do WQ for write and quit. So basically save and quit. All right. And this is on the web shell, which I'm not going to be able to do this problem on here. Let me do it locally. I forgot I can't look at images on that web shell. So let's see here. The chemistry less. Okay. So okay. So I'm going to go like this. That line we edited. We also edited line 50. Hopefully you're all enjoying this wonderful hex problem. All right, so let's see, percent. All right, and then And yeah, I still don't know why that one's not working on my computer. It's just I don't want to think about how hard it is. Yeah, so like I think RJ still here? He's the one who solved this one last time. But my Windows machine is not cooperating this time. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. All right, so now that I've edited the hex, this mystery file, let me just share so you can see this mystery. I added the PNG, and then we can now see that the hex has given us an image. And then what we would do is basically take this flag here and type it in. All right, and just for posterity, let's go back and type this in. So Pico CTF. And I spelled it wrong. 18.4.7.9.5. This needs to be a 0. And there we go. So that's a good question, Alice. Let me see if I have another PNG on my computer that's handy. Okay, so Cyber Club. All right. So so I copied over here the Cyber logo PNG. So if we do the same thing, so we'll do XXD Cyber logo less. So if you look, you can kind of get a feel for some of these lines. So actually, I got a better idea here. Can you do split? I don't think I can do split. Okay, so let me do Vim mystery. Percent bang XXD. Okay, then split cyber. Okay, so if we look at these two files, so the top file, so I'm sorry, I know some of you weren't following probably how I did that, but it's really not important right this second. The main thing, though, to answer your question is if we look at this first line here, this first line is identical to the new line that I typed for the mystery PNG. So because I have a known good PNG file, you can make some assumptions and make the edits necessary to get that. And then for this line 50 here, that one, again, I didn't solve it, but like I didn't solve it the first time, so I don't know what it would have taken, but I think just some trial and error, you might have been able to see that. I'm just trying to think. I wonder if it's any deeper in here. So there's a $sign T. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm not really sure off the top of my head, but at least for the first one, when you get used to analyzing files forensically, you'll be able to like have a better understanding of what bytes need to be fixed. So hopefully that answers your question, Alice. Quit, and then qbang force quits on it. Okay. So the last one that we were going to do for forensics is a little bit easier of one, which is Shark on a wire. So let's do Shark. So for this one, you would have had to download another program. So like Wireshark, for example, is probably the most common one. We have a nice GUI for it. So tools. So let me open up my Wireshark. And then I'll just download this file. All right. So what this challenge is doing is this is like a network. All the communication that's going across the wire is being captured. It's a packet capture is what it's called. Remind me later on Wireshark. All right. So here in Wireshark, let's see. Can I zoom in? I cannot zoom in. But so for this one, what we do is we go ahead and go open the file in here. So for this Wireshark, we're actually doing a workshop next week in more detail about it. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one. But basically what you would want to do is you would kind of have to research all of these different things to see what's happening. Can I zoom in some? Yeah, there we go. So, I mean, you can't really see very well, but we have like source IP addresses. We got destination IP addresses, different protocols. So we got SSDP. We got ARP requests, TCP connections. So quite a variety of different things going on. So basically, we would analyze this file to find the answer. Let me see. I remember how to do this one. So you can see there's like a bunch of different connections here. There's, how many are there? There's 2,300 different things. So the hard part about this one is you would want to like go through each one to see kind of like what's happening. So this one, you got the hexadecimal result output from the packets. You can see user agents. Yeah, so you'd probably have to download Wireshark for this one. There's some Linux ones, like you can do the command line. I think it's TCP dump or something like that. To do this one also. And let's see. So for this challenge, basically what we're going to want to do is we can see there's a bunch of different things going on. So we can analyze these different things here. And let's see, can I find the string? Yeah, so we'll scroll back to the top and then go to like the first set of like UDPs. So you should be able to follow UDP string and you'll see like a UDP. Does anyone know what UDP is? Anyway, it's a type of yeah. So Wireshark is a separate tool, which again next week we'll go in a lot more depth with the Wireshark. But so UDP is a type of internet connection where it just sends the messages and it doesn't care what happens to them. That's kind of like the high level overview. It's something like video streaming might use. They just blast the packets and hope that you get them. And so we can follow, like in Wireshark, one of the nice things about like using Wireshark versus the command line terminals is you can really easily follow along all these different streams. So 3. All right. Wow, hey, look at that. So now we're getting something kind of strange here, right? A malform packet. Here, malform packet. So, but it looks like we're kind of like on the right track. So I wonder why it's malformed. Oh, all right. So then I guess, so we keep clicking through and nobody can really see this. But eventually you find a UDP stream that has a flag solution. I'll just go back here. So you should be able to see the flag now. Submit the flag. So yeah, I can do that again. All right. So typically when you're looking at, let me clear this real quick. So when you're looking at Wireshark, there's a lot going on. Like it can be very overwhelming. And every CTF challenge with Wireshark is going to be a headache because they just throw so much at you. Like, do you really want, how long is it going to take to go through 2,317 lines? Like, that's going to take me a couple hours at least to read line by line. So one of the first things you might try is if you right click on this UDP, you can do this follow and UDP stream. So I'll type this real quick in the chat. So you right click on a UDP packet, select follow, and UDP stream. So what this is doing is basically each packet is sending a header and saying, hey, we have this much data in it, right? Which if we go back to this one, you can see it's like 24 bytes. And there's other information in here that it'll tell you. So when we get this screen here, which I can't zoom in on very easily. Oh, wait, hold on. There we go. So we get this like garbage here. And then down in the bottom right corner, there's a little button that says string. And right now it's on number 4. So if we go down, this is UDP stream 3, 2, 1. We just are getting like a bunch of garbage information. So we can try the opposite direction. This one looks kind of funny, yeah, because we see pico, 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 pico. So maybe this might be a clue or something that we're on the right track. And if we go one more to stream 6, this is where the flag is. So Sam, did you understand that time? Awesome, cool. All right, so that's how you solve the 3 forensics challenges that we did. Right. All right, so this next one should be a little more straightforward. So this one you're going to want Java installed. Reverse engineering, this not only is very applicable in the real world, not just in cybersecurity, but in software development. You're going to be reverse engineering a lot of different things. So let's go ahead and take a couple minutes to give you guys a chance to do something else on your own. This one you should be able to do on any computer if you have some kind of code editor. I don't know what you guys are using. VS Code is, I think, the most popular one right now. Or Linux, you can also do it in a text editor, and same with Mac. So, all right, share my screen. All right, so for Voldor, we're doing like a very basic reverse engineering problem. So I have already downloaded it. So it's this Voldor training. So again, with file investigation, program investigation, let's check out, see what we can find. So we'll just do like head on Voldor training, and there's like a lot of stuff. This is source code, so let's open it up in Vim to take a full look at it. And so yeah, so as we're like looking through, so in reverse engineering, sometimes they give you the source code, sometimes they don't. In this case, we do have the source code, so we're able to analyze it line by line to see what's happening. So as you can see, this is going to ask for some user input, and then based on if the password is correct, they either grant access or deny access. And then so, this is one important thing that you'll learn is never put your passwords in your code or on GitHub. Like when you upload stuff to Git, make sure you remove all your passwords. Put them in the git ignore file and don't upload them. So yeah, so this one, I'm just going to exit out because of my computer's way of copying things. Let's do tail. Here's tail. Training. Yeah, there we go. All right. So this should be our flag for this one. And then make sure we put it in the right format. So every competition has their own format. And there we go. So yeah, that one was much easier. And then we'll just take a look at the Vault training or Voldor 1. Because this one is a little bit different. It's still pretty simple. So when we look at it here, you can see that this flag is going to be a random, kind of randomized, right? So again, we have like a very similar top. I think it's almost the same. Voldor training. So if I scroll up and scroll up, that looks pretty much almost identical, right? And then we have our public boolean, which is our password in the training one. And so if we scroll down here, we see how have like some arrays in the password. So you'll learn more about arrays as you go. But basically, you're going to need to take these, and if you just write them in order, so like this one's at 0. So start at 0, you get D. If you get at 1, you get 3. So if you just write these down in here, then you should be able to get the flag. So that's how you'd solve like Vault 1. So any questions on that? So the easiest way to probably do it is you might be able to like build like a little script or something to do it for you. But because this is, let's see, why am I not able to interact on this? Oh, there we go. Let's see. So if this is a password string, so for this challenge, I don't think there's probably an easy way to do it. It's probably honestly easiest just to write it down or type it out. Because what you want to do for this challenge is it's asking here for the user input. So it's asking that you actually give the flag to it in order to get the access granted. So sometimes in reverse challenges, you can actually like brute force the password, which is you just write a script and then you try the order of the password like over and over again until it gets it right. But yeah, for this challenge, I think it's let's see, how long is it? What's it? 31 characters, 32 characters. So it's a pain, but easiest probably just do it handwritten. All right. All right. So next is like another fun category that we'll be covering in fall quarter as well, is cryptography. Cryptography is basically the way you hide messages. You know, encodings, it secretly encrypting it, not encoding it. But yeah, so go ahead and try these out. For the first two, it should be pretty easy. I think they're both image files, and then tapping, you're going to have to use netcat. So again, practicing something we talked about earlier. So I'll give you probably about 10, like 5 minutes probably. Just download the files and take a stab at what they might be. Yeah. All right. So yeah, if you haven't finished it, don't stress. We're just kind of getting used to it. This Pico CTF, their new platform, should be open all year round. So feel free to go back and do it in the meantime. All right. So let me share my screen. So we were going to work on the numbers. So for numbers, this one is probably easiest on an actual computer, because this one, they give you an image file with a bunch of numbers. So does anyone like have a guess what this might be? Black Ops, Alphabet. Yeah. So Shirley, I think you've got it. So, cryptography, we know we're going to take a known phrase and then convert it into something different. So for this one, just to take notes. So this one, if I bring up the image again, so you could probably write like a script for this or something, but we got like 16. Why is that? 16. There we go. 9. Let me just echo 16, 9, 3, 15, 3, 20, and 6. Okay, so for these ones, those similar words, right? Any idea what that might be to those first numbers? Yep. Yeah, so it looks like everybody just about got it. So once you're able to kind of like get a clue of how the encryption is working, you'll be able to solve it pretty easily. So I'm not going to do like the whole number thing. I think there are also some tools like number to letter. Oops. Numbers to letters tool. So like there's this like online tool here that might be able to work. So numbers separated by a space of 16, 9, 3, 15, 3, 20, 6, 28, 5, 14, 21, 13, 2, 5, 18, 19, 13, 1, 19, 15, 14. Okay, so it outputs it. This is all lowercase. But now we found like a nice little online tool. I just Googled it, and we're able to get this thing. So we do need all uppercase though, which is not cool. But that's how you would solve it. Let me just put it over here. Numbers, Pico, CTF, that number. Let's see if that's right. And there you go. All right. So then the second one is kind of similar. Is flags. At least I think that's right. Yeah. So they give us another image file, and then so we get these random weird squares. But they do tell us flags in the name. So one of the first things you might do is be like flag codes or something into Google. So code, flag code letters. Yeah. So doing that, we can come up with like actually not. Let's do images. Let's go back to all. International Code of Signals. So we can kind of see there's all these different letters associated with all these different flags. So basically, we would just go through this image and break it, right? So what is going on with my thing here? So like this first one is a blue square, which we also know should be similar to Pico CTF. So if we look at the P here, we get the blue square with the inner white square. And then same with I and O, they match up. So hopefully that makes sense how you would solve that one. Everyone good on that? Feel free to like say yes in chat. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that one's another kind of like simple one. All right, so I'm not going to put that one in. And the next one was tapping. So this one was also kind of an interesting one. It's also kind of straightforward. So it's saying, hey, there's some tapping coming in from the wires. What is it saying? So this one, we get to test out our netcat skills again. So we'll paste that in. It actually gave us the command. And then so we get all these dots and dashes. Anyone able to know what that one is? Yeah, I think you're right there. So we get Morse code decoder. So I'll just you can just like Google one here, and we can just copy this and see if our decoder works. Yeah, it does not like the parentheses there, but there you go. So you guys were right, the people that said Morse code. So, and we'll add those braces back in. Ta-da. There we go. Good job. So yeah, that one was kind of an easy category. Cryptography also commonly includes like password cracking, might be one of them. And then in 2 weeks from now, our own Ishan will be going deeper into that. All right, so the next category is web exploitation. So this one is going to be all related mostly to websites. Most of these are pretty simple as well. So we're getting short on time, so I'm just going to give about 5 minutes. So maybe choose one that you think you're interested in doing and work on that. All right, I'll see you in a minute. Yeah, so this problem that we're going to look at is the don't use client side, which, if I remember right, is pretty similar. So go to this wonderful website, and it's, hey, this is a secure login portal. Enter valid credentials. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so again, we can check out the source code, kind of see what's happening here. Incorrect passwords, verify passwords, enter credentials indexed, pass. So this one looks kind of interesting because this is kind of like a reverse engineering problem, but on the web. So again, we're going to have the flag is split up into pieces because as it's checking the substrings, it's verifying the password. So for this one, we can do the same thing where we're just going to be able to copy and paste these comments into the flag itself. Let me copy this over. So we got Pico, CTF, and And then based on the number order is probably the order I'm going to guess. So if I put the source code up here, so we got Pico 0 to split, and then we have split to 2. So then my next thing would be split times 2, split times 3. So we'd copy this one over. And then you just keep doing that down. So split 3 to split 4, get us this pieces, 4, 5, 5, 6. No clients, please. And then we need 6, 7, 7, 8. Should be the end of the flag. And there you go. So that one, both those were pretty similar. And also really good practice ones. So log on. Let me see. What is this one? Okay, so let's see. This one. So this one should be another one where we can start looking at the source code. But this one, I don't think it gives out anything really for us. So if we look through, there's not like any good information in that source page. We can do some more inspection, maybe see what other sources are available. All these look like third-party ones. Let's see, can you see? Can I zoom in? I can't zoom in. But all the third-party ones, you probably don't want to take waste time to look at it. And my wonderful password manager is playing here. So like the next natural step might be to just test something. So I'll just put like my name here, Chris, and test password. Oh wow, hey, it told us we logged in though. That's kind of interesting. There's no flag though. So if we go back to the clue, it's hiding something from users. Here's a hint. It doesn't seem to check anyone's password except for logons. So, oh wait a second. Did I miss the password? Paste source again. No flag for you. Okay, so we can sign out here. Actually, let me log back in. Test. So the other thing that we can do here is look at application. So in this applications tab, it's going to tell you like what's stored on your computer. There's nothing in local, nothing in session. But we are looking at the cookies now. So everyone knows cookies. They're so delicious, right? Chocolate